What's up everybody? In today's video, I'm starting a scale diorama, but I'm gonna try to not buy any new supplies to complete it. I'm shopping my stash and getting super creative. So I have this enormous assortment of random stuff, as you can plainly see, and it's been piling up all over the place. Couple that with the fact that I've been watching some diorama building lately, and well, this video was bound to happen eventually. Eventually is today. So if you like Shop My Stash or other random DIY videos like this one, please feel free to subscribe to the channel, and then click the bell to get notified about all my uploads. Anyway, I'm not using everything here, but at first I just kind of wanted to get an idea of what could work to make a believable scale diorama. Like I said, I'm trying to avoid purchasing anything new for this project. By this point, I decided I wanted to create a dock with someone fishing off of the side, and I figured the cork could act as the ground covering. That would help me to tie in the extension pieces that I'm planning to add. My first thought was to use the clay and build a car or a truck. And I figured these rings could represent tires if the scale worked out. Sadly though, they were just way too big, so I scrapped that idea. Instead, I decided to go for a tent because I do have some felt and other fabric on hand. At that point, this diorama set up to become a lakeside camping scene. My next step would be to establish my scale, so I used the dock as my base piece. This is my first try at making something to scale, and it took me a minute to figure things out. And actually, I didn't really figure anything out on my own. I ended up talking this out with Matt, and I finally got it once I got it all down on paper. So I measured and cut down the popsicle sticks to 2 inches, and according to my scale here, that would represent 4 feet. Once I got those pieces cut, I started on the extension pieces. I was pretty impressed that stacking these random bits of wood and this leftover PVC just happened to work out for an extra 1.5 inches of thickness. The black painted wood blocks had staples that I couldn't completely remove, so I added this cork so that it would buffer between the 2 blocks, and then I planned to put them together against the cork. I spread out some wood glue with one of the popsicle sticks. I laid out the sticks quickly while the glue soaked into the cork. Then I used a couple of squeeze clamps to sandwich the 2 extension pieces, and I cleaned up the glue squeeze out with a paper towel. Then I added the PVC block for height, adjusted placement, and clamped it into place. After that, I finished off assembling the dock and left everything to dry. I used some Ace wood filler to fill in the end grain gaps on the wooden base, and I started out with a Japan scraper, but that didn't really work so well, so I ended up smushing it in there with my fingers, and that did the job. This wood fill is getting a little dried out, so I think that's why it just wasn't adhering exactly right. The glue was dry enough on the dock piece, so I started distressing the planks. I used my pinching tweezers and chipped, dragged, and jabbed until I was happy with a nice light level of distressing. Quick reminder to go subscribe over at my new channel, CACTUS DIY. I'm launching over there with a desk refinish next Friday, and you won't want to miss it. I'll link to everything in the description and at the end of this video. Things get, interesting to say the least. Just go subscribe for all the drama llama moments. These lumps were made from some kind of weird air dry clay. A while ago, I tested this stuff and I tried to make some magnets. It was interesting. Interesting. A really good way to describe the texture of that stuff. So weird. I'll link to that video in the description if you want to check it out, but those failed magnets are gonna somehow become boulders and some large rocks in this diorama. Then I needed to create the tent poles, and I'm going for a 6-foot square tent, so I glued 2 toothpicks together to hopefully create the right length that I'm gonna need. I may have to do this again, but I'm not doing that today. I started with some 150 grit sandpaper to start shaping the dry clay pieces into something that resembles a smoothed out boulder. But that paper wasn't working out so great, so I pulled out my 220 grit instead, and that worked a lot better. Then I grabbed my Mod Podge mix to set the fire pit. I thin my Mod Podge with water at about a 1-to-1 ratio. It's just runnier that way and it would drip over the rocks. Unfortunately though, things were moving around because I didn't set these down with isopropyl alcohol. I didn't know what the alcohol could do to the clay and I didn't want to risk anything melting. So instead, I eventually just mixed everything together and used my artist brush to reshape the fire pit ring. By then, the wood filler had dried, and I actually sanded that over a sheet of paper. My plan was to use the sawdust as ashes in the bottom of the fire pit. So I dumped most of them into the center of the fire pit ring, and then I added a few drops of Mod Podge mix. Right away, I could tell this wasn't gonna work. I had to mix the sawdust and the glue together, and by the time it actually congealed, it was just too gooey and smooth to look like ashes. It was really more of a paste. But I left it there, and I added a bit more to the top, just hoping it would dry looking like powder. I want at least one tree on this diorama, maybe more because it's a camping scene, but definitely the one tree. So I got to work making some tree branches out of the remnants of these popsicle sticks. By then, the glue had dried on my extension piece. I wanted to finish attaching those pieces before calling it a day on this thing, so I took off the clamps and I lined everything up. And I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty impressed with just how close to level everything had turned out. Go me with my estimating skills. I sanded the top part of the extension piece down to smooth off camera, and then I grabbed a plastic bag. Since these pieces don't nestle together snugly, I wouldn't be able to use clamps or any kind of clamping device really. So my plan was to stuff it full of some popsicle sticks, tons of glue, and basically not care if it holds together forever, since this is all just stuff from shopping my stash anyway. And that's where I'm going to leave us for part 1. Don't forget to subscribe if you like DIYs like this one, or even home improvement. That's what I do here. In the next month, we're going to definitely have a garage update, and we're starting soon on our closet doors in the master bedroom, so you're not going to want to miss that. In the meantime, you can catch me weekly over at Copper Cactus DIY doing furniture refinishing. I hope to see you there, but that's all I've got for you today over here. Thanks so much for watching. Later, peeps!